Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Yeah, hasn't been a very good weekend for the South African teams. It's actually been quite a bit of a doozy. I think for everybody, the finals for the Investec Cup Championship this last weekend didn't go down well. Not for the South African teams, really. For the British teams, quite well, actually. Yeah, the Stormers versus, let's see, Stormers versus Harlequins. Brutal game, almost hard to watch, specifically at times. The Stormers didn't play too badly. They honestly didn't play badly. They just couldn't find a cohesive team effort to actually, make any kind of impact into the game. A lot of discipline issues among them. The Harlequins really kind of had it together. Very little kind of penalties going against the Harlequins, mostly against the Stormers. So much so that the Stormers suffered three yellow cards in the second half, specifically, just from too many penalties conceded, one after the other, and then eventually the referee kind of just started dishing out yellow cards. First off to Ungaras and Natla, I think got a yellow card for playing the player in the air. And then Angela Davids getting another yellow card there. So around about the 66th minute. That obviously didn't do the Stormers any kind of favors. The Harlequins did suffer a yellow card in the first half from Herbst. Not dipping into the tackle, actually shoulder connecting quite hectically with Thomas Murat's chin. Luckily not too many damage, but still a rather high degree of danger. So the referee basically issued the yellow card there. Unfortunately for the Stormers, they couldn't make any kind of impact into the on the scoreboard wise from that yellow card, and that eventually got to sort of punch him in the gut right at the end. 53 and 16 point loss to the Stormers. Yuri Matia basically the only one putting the points on the scoreboard. At the end, it was Mars that basically scored a try, and then Yuri Matia basically converting. So all in all, not a bad game. It's just the Stormers just couldn't seem to break through the Harlequins' defenses. They made a lot of good effort, a lot of good meters made and carries by the forwards. But unfortunately, as soon as the Harlequins organised their defences, there was rather no breaking it. From the 22-meter line, line of the Harlequins to just solidify their defences, and there was no way the Stormers could actually get through. Only sort of the most of the points being scored by Yuri Matia, as I said, from penalty goals and a successful drop goal attempt. But unfortunately, not anything to make any kind of dents really for the Stormers there. Mars obviously scoring the try right at the end, but most of the tries was basically all going to the Harlequin side. Very well played to the Brits over there, the men from Twickenham. So yeah, URC is picking up again this weekend, so we're really hoping for a bit more of an improvement on these guys' games. But I would like to appeal, if I may, to John Dobson a bit, that if we could maybe start focusing more on running rugby, letting the ball move to the back line, then rather than just focusing on attacks from the front row. Then maybe that might help a bit. If we see, what the Springboks have been able to bring to the table in this last year, especially from the influence of Tony Brown, there's a lot more talent there. And the back line is open. Clayton Bromwicki's, Angelo Davids, these guys really have the talent. Sasha Zulu. Obviously, yes, a lot of the fine talent from the Stormers wasn't in the game, and you could clearly see the loss for the Stormers there. Yes, the Stormers actually quite felt the loss of quite a few key players, especially Moni Lebok, Sasha Zulu, and quite a few other players as well, that are all down with injuries, unfortunately. Which obviously didn't do very well for the Stormers this weekend. So basically, moving on to the Sharks. Sharks versus Leicester. Andre Pollard's current club of choice. Leinster guys really did well. 56-17 defeat to the Sharks. Not quite sure what happened there. I mean, most of the Sharks' talent was obviously even Esabet wasn't on the field. Neither was Sia Kolisi. Not quite sure if Proutry was maybe keeping them, or Puntry, sorry, was basically keeping them back for any other reason or some reason. Maybe trying to invest them more into the URC rather than the Investec Cup. But you could obviously see the loss there. Although Jordan Hendricks, his brother Jaden Hendricks, are obviously playing a smashing game as well. Nkunu, doing very well in his kicking. Pollard, obviously walking away with the prize there. Nkunu, obviously, there's no substitute for. And especially with Siya Masuku as well, there's no substitute for experience, and Pollard's got bucket loads. Most of his conversions, he scored a try as well within the first half. He's been converting most of the tries. I mean, it was a try fest for Leinster. Not really on the side of the Sharks. They did score, say, 2 tries, one by Tuchuka, and then one by Ethan Hooker. But unfortunately, Masuku getting the yellow card in the second half also didn't really not do any kind of favours for the Sharks. And any kind of hopes for making a comeback kind of went out the window with that one. So not really anything that they could have done about that. Ethan Hooker played a smashing game as well. Masuku deadly with his kicks. Although very few and far between. He did do a penalty goal right at the beginning of the first half, and then did do successful conversions for the tries by Ethan Hooker and by Tuchuka. So, but it's mostly Carter, Pollard, Russell Collins, Montoya. I mean, who was surprised to see him there? I was quite surprised. The Julian Montoya from Argentina, one of them, the most up-and-coming teams in the world today, making an appearance there for Leinster. And I think they really bought a prize stallion with that guy. I mean, he's a remarkable player. Honestly, Julian Montoya, one of the really remarkable players to be watching in world rugby. Alongside obviously Wallace TT and those guys, Sasha from Zulu as well, and most of your Springboks. Also, a lot of the Springboks not present within the Sharks. Trevin Yantane was there, obviously, but the weekend special wasn't there. So the loss was felt, especially also even Esabet, Sia Kolisi, with Lucanio as well, and Makuzolo Mapipi not being present at the game. So that kind of probably had an impact in the game. The talent there was definitely missed, I think. Then walking on to the Bulls versus Saracens now again. very tough to watch. Bulls, obviously, they made an extremely strong play for it, but just couldn't break through the Saracens' defenses. Saracens also not making such a huge margin like we saw with the Stormers and the Sharks games, only beating the Bulls 27-5. So the Bulls basically scoring one try by the Clap. That was it. Again, yellow cards all round. The Clap got in getting a yellow card as well as Kirsten within the second half. So yeah, I also did feel like refs were particularly pedantic about calling mistakes, especially on the South African team side. Although I will not be so hasty to add any kind of bias by the referees. I can't prove it, but it was just so funny to me that most of the penalties and most of the yellow cards going to the side of the South African teams, besides glaringly obvious mistakes and infractions caused by the opposing teams like Harlequins, the Saracens, that was just simply either ignored or not seen by the referee. So yeah, not quite happy with that. I think the referee performance could have been better in all the games. But yeah, now walking on to the URC for next weekend. Hopefully, like I said, it's going to be better with these guys. Lions versus Powell. Also, Lions did manage to actually score a bit. Basically the only South African team that won within the Challenge Cup. They are not playing within the Investec, so two different tournaments. But they were the only South African team in the international arena to actually score a victory this weekend, 43-35. I didn't watch the game myself. From the stats, it really looked like the Lions played an absolutely magnificent game. So we're hoping to see a bit more performance on their side, coming back to the URC again this weekend. So let's march on to the fixtures for this up and coming Saturday. We have, let's go from Friday on. The Ulster versus Munster for the URC coming up on Friday. Excuse me. And then we've got the URC again, Benetton versus the Zebra, Stormers versus the Lions, Sharks against the Bulls, and then Ospreys versus Scarlets, and Leinster versus Connacht this coming Saturday as well. So we are looking forward to that. Hopefully a bit better results, holding firm against the Stormers, although they are facing off against the Lions. And from previous games that we saw, especially going back to the Currie Cup, hasn't been that promising, especially against teams like the Lions and the Sharks, as well as the Bulls. They really haven't been doing well, so holding thumbs, but I might be hoping above all hope for a positive result there, but we will have to see what happens. So yeah, that is the lineup for this weekend, and I hope to see you guys all there. I'm not going to be coming through for another video this next week. If it is the festive season, I'll be hanging out with, I'll obviously be working, and I'll also be hanging out with the family, and loved ones and all that. And I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful festive season this coming next week. And yeah. To everybody, going away, have safe trip. Anybody going to visit family, again, safe trip. Please come back safely. Take care of each other. I hope you guys have a smashing Christmas festival this coming week, next week. Also, please guys, don't drink and drive. There's a lot of death on our roads every year during this time period. So yeah. Please take care of each other and yourselves, and obviously, keep the beers on ice. You can't go into the festive season and the rugby season without them. So please don't overdo it. And if you drink, don't drink and drive, like I already said. Anyway, guys, get out of here. Peace out.